Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for another Journaling on a Budget starting from scratch video. Today I thought we'd go through and put some embellishments and some tags and stuff in our book, and I've kind of gone through and picked a few things out, but I just decided to start because I was having kind of a brain freeze. So I did finish the tag for this pocket. Way back in the beginning when we did this page, I had put aside a couple of flowers that matched, and I tore out a piece of the shorthand book, and I knew I wanted to make a tag out of that. So I went ahead and I just backed it on a piece of our watercolored paper and put it in a heavy book and let it sit. And so this one just goes right in here. And I like to push it down so that you don't see that first flower, and the second flower looks pretty, but then when you pull it out, you've got that surprise there. So, and then coffee dyed. I coffee dyed some things and I tea dyed some things. I like tea dyeing. The coffee dyeing to me is very grungy. And so the top of this ribbon here is really got a darkness to it that I just don't care for right there, because to me it looks kind of dirty. So what I did was I just cut a piece of the sheer curtain that we had dyed with our watercolors, with the little paints I think we dyed this with. But I thought I'm just going to kind of cover that up with that, put a little piece of eyelash trim on there, and that will just, to me, it just cleans it up a little bit, just because I don't care for that spot. So I'm just going to cut this, make sure that it's long enough, and cut it right here. And we're just going to glue these on. And now that we've got the tag done for this page to me is done. I thought it was time to kind of start finishing some pages. I tend to go from one spot to another, back and forth, and I don't really finish things. And so I thought it was time to make sure that the ones that were almost done got finished. We're getting very close to being done with this one. Not sure what the next journaling will be, but I've been having fun with this one. Although it does sometimes, it gets to the point where you're like, okay, it's getting so close to done, you just want to get it done. You want to see what it's going to be like. Now I'm going to put a little bit of glue on here for the trim. But it's been fun. And I'm happy with what we've been able to do with our original $25 purchase. And like I said, you know, we all had different things because it came from the secondhand store. So you couldn't necessarily get what I got, but you could get things like what I got. Maybe you didn't get a shorthand book. Maybe you got a math book. And maybe you know someone who is, you know, really into math, and you could use that to make them a journal, and that would make it very special. I like the looks of the shorthand. I thought that was pretty cool when I saw it. But I have some shorthand pages in here, but I have covered them up mostly. I guess I'm not a big one on putting book pages in my journals. And I know they're junk journals, and this is all junk. It all, you know, pretty much this all came from the secondhand store, something that someone else didn't want. And it works perfect to make a journal with. But, and I do like this shorthand, I think looks very nice. But the ones with the writing on them, I don't care for those too much. I like this in the background. I like carrying that theme throughout the book. I think that that's quite fun. And so over here, I just grabbed a couple pieces of our dyed fabric and some of our twine and one of our little flowers. And actually, I think, let's see if I can, I'm going to find a different flower. I want the flower over here to match the flowers that we have over here. But this one, again, it's got that big dark spot on it, and that's just kind of not my thing. Or maybe it's because this book is a flower book and we did it with, you know, it's very colorful because of it's very colorful because of what I was able to get to make this journal. So maybe it's just I don't like it because of the fact that I can't find the end of the... Here's one that's already cut. You know, maybe I would like it better if I was doing a journal where I was using like tea-dyed paper, just tea-dyed paper, and or coffee-dyed paper, and distress inks in the brown colors. You know, then it might look really nice. I'm just not liking it with the brights. Maybe that's the thing. So I want to just kind of fussy cut this flower, and that gives me like a little applique to put on top of what I'm doing. And it will look pretty. And I think I'm going to cut off the little, it's got like a little edge there. I could choose to either cut it off or leave it. I'm going to cut it off so it just looks like a flower, so that, you know, that edge would kind of make it almost look like I cut it off of a piece of fabric or a piece of longer lace. So this way it looks more like an applique. And this is our front. And got a spot right there that needs to come off. Alrighty, so I'm just going to glue these down. Because we had the feather here, I thought we need something in this corner. And I tried putting flowers up there. It didn't work. And it didn't work because the flowers were just floating there. I would have needed to have something else here to ground that flower, because flowers don't just float in midair. And so that's why that was just not working as I was going through. And then all of a sudden I thought, how about just a little fabric cluster? And the one thing about this book is, because we used the same markers and the same paint, because we didn't get that many different things, we used it over and over, everything really blends together. You know, it matches really nicely because it's what we had. And so that's really quite fun to be able to grab something and know that it's really kind of going to match on one of the pages or another, because it was done with the same, it was dyed with the same paint. And then I don't have to try and figure out, does this piece of fabric or does that piece of fabric match? I think I want some of this on there, but I had a lot of it, and I think I just want a little bit. I'm trying to think how I want to do it. I think I do want to do it kind of like in a bit of a round, letting a few hairs stick out. And you don't have to, once the glue dries, it's not going to go anywhere. So you don't have to use a ton of glue and glue it down totally flat. You can leave it so that it has a little movement to it. And that works out just fine once it's dry. Just bring this piece over here. And we just got lucky with or I got lucky, I should say, with the fibers that I found, because they match the colors for the book really well. And I really didn't notice that when I was buying these things. It was what they had at the secondhand store, so I picked them up. If I can get my fingers off it without tearing it back off the page. There we go. And then we'll just put some glue on some of these more solid spots on our lace. And glue that down, and we'll have a nice little cluster. And there we go. And I like that. Now, if I wanted to put a little color on that, I could again take one of my markers and, put some water with it and just tap a little color on there. But I don't know that I want it like too in your face. I kind of want it to be a little blended in the background to take up that space, but yet not take away from the prettiness that we have here with our feather and our flower. So I would call these 2 pages done. And now, in order to turn the page and make sure they don't stick, just gonna grab a Walmart bag and stick that in there so they don't stick together. I'm going to trim this off a little bit here after it dries. Just want to make sure that that stays down. And we've stuck the edging up right here a little bit so that that sticks out and looks pretty. There's a little bit of the fray sticking out there too. So these pages, these are done. We've got writing space here and a journaling card here with writing space behind it. So those pages are done. And this is done. More space to put pictures of writing. We've got our napkin journaling card in this one. So that's done. This one. This yellow flower has bothered me since I did it. I loved this. I couldn't fold it all the way over to here because that would have been too close. And I didn't think it would really bother me. I don't like it. It bothers me. It pops out more than anything else, especially now that I have this page done and it's also in the purples and blues. And so what I should have done was I should have cut a circle in here before I glued it into the book, just a half circle, like you do a lot of times on pockets, but I didn't do that. So for another place, I was ripping this. Oh, when I was making that journaling card, I had to rip the paper. The one on the first page. And so I had the strip sitting there and I thought, well, what if I put that on there? And I thought, well, I like that better than the yellow, but I didn't like the fact of, I don't know, it just kind of looked kind of funny. There's just a strip of paper there. So there was another strip of paper on the table. And I took that one and put it over here. And I thought, now that, to me, I like that. Because it looks like it's there kind of for a reason, instead of just to cover up an ugly yellow flower. So I'm just going to put that on there to finish up this page. And then the only thing that we'll have left here is we will need a tag to put in this pocket. And then we've got our hidden journaling spot on this side. Whoops. I think I cut it the right size. Yep. Okay. Need to get that off of there. I've got a little. There. I just want to wipe that glue off so that it doesn't. I got it across there, and I don't want it to be all shiny. So there we go. And then we're going to take this one. And I think we'll put the more solid part of the paper towards the bottom. And I think what I'm even going to do, just to be sure, I'm going to touch just a little bit of white paint on the edges of that yellow flower. Grab a little scrap of paper. I just don't want that yellow to show. I would rather have a little bit of white show than that yellow, especially since it's pretty covered up, but I could see a couple little spots here. And I get the edge too, because I ripped that with our paper ripper, so it doesn't have a straight edge on it. So we might see a little bit of the edge of this paper, so we'll just get rid of that there. So that's the whole thing, you know. I've looked at this yellow flower since I started, and I just wasn't sure what I was going to do about it, but then all of a sudden something will just come to you. Like I said, I got to this page, and I had just done that tag for the first page, and that piece of paper was sitting there, and voila. I looked at it and thought, that's exactly what I need. Oops, we want to do it this way. Yes, that's going to work perfectly. So I'm just going to put some glue on here. So we're getting close to being done. We have pockets and tags and that type of thing to make, and then I think there's still about maybe 6 pages or so to go. It takes a while to do these things. And if you just do them when you feel like doing them, it makes them so enjoyable. If you try and make yourself rush and get things done, it's not as enjoyable. You know, it can become a bit of a chore. and make you not like the process. So if you're not feeling like working on your journal, don't. Make some clusters, make some tags, look at YouTube and make something else. You know, I like to make all sorts of things. I'm not really stuck on just one thing. And so whenever I get tired of making one thing, I just go on to doing something else for a while. And there we go. Now I think that that really finishes that off nicely. I really was so unhappy with that yellow flower. Now all it needs is a tag. But I don't know what I want to do for that tag. So I think we're going to wait for a few minutes on that one, because I want kind of a flat tag. I do have some I wanted to show you. So this is just, this was like a humidifier that we got, and I peeled the cardboard off it, and look at this wonderful corrugation I got. Nice and tiny corrugation. So remember to look at different things like that. Now this side of it is really slippery, and I noticed when I was ripping it off, it actually has like a plastic coating on it. So you definitely want to, here, I'll show you that. See that? At first I thought that was tape, but it's not. That's a plastic coating. What's kind of cool is I could actually maybe take that plastic coating in little bits and put that in a cluster, because that's kind of cool and it's see-through. So, but remember, you need to take off that shininess before you glue something to the back. I actually cut one out. I don't know what I did with it, and I was happy with how it looked. I love this. So this one just needs to be decorated, and then I'll put tea-dyed paper on the back so it can be written on. This doesn't go, I thought about when I said this one needs a tag, but this is too heavy for this page. This needs a flatter tag, or maybe even a little booklet. Ooh, I think a booklet would be nice in there. And then we have this page, and we've got our postcard. That's all done. Nice writing space. I do like the way that that turned out after it dried. I really love the colors in this page. We had so much blues in the front, so now we've got the drop down here. That one is all set. We have writing space here, or space to put a picture, and so that page is done. So here is 2 pages that are not done, and we're not going to touch those. We're just going to do some. That one's got a tag. Would this be too heavy? See, I think this would be too heavy for this spot too. For some reason, I don't think this goes with the blues. I wonder if I have another orange page that needs a tag. And we've got our window here. What about that? It might go there, but we've got thickness here, thickness here. I don't think we need thickness in the tag. Those are sometimes some of the things you have to think through. This, I don't want to put it there because I want those tags to kind of match in some way, shape, or form. And that would be too heavy to put in all those tags. And we have this one, which this one I just need to do something on the edges. And, oh, I was looking at this. This is, these are just labels with, you know, that Papa got in the mail. He didn't want them, and so I'm going to use them in the book. I can just go ahead. Oh, I've got the paint out. So you just can go ahead and do this, and then you can put something in that spot. And this, the coloring in this goes really nicely with this book. And why did I do this? Because it's easier for me to look at something without that there when I'm trying to test it out in my book than to have that there kind of in your face. And if I put something small on here and it sticks out a little bit on one side or the other, then the white paint is there to cover up that address, and then you don't have to worry about it. So there we go. And then on this other side, rip that off. I just cut the address off the bottom. This was kind of like a square shape with the address underneath here. So look at those. Aren't those cute? So, and then there was an E here for Papa's last name. And what I did was, I wasn't happy with this cluster. It needed something to stand it out. I really liked that E. Actually, I think I'm going to move it up just a little bit though. I put it there and I've kind of passed it a few times to see if I like it or not. I do like it. And so now I'm going to put some glue on it too, because, you know, those stickers don't necessarily stick great. Plus I've had it on there a few times on and off to see what I thought. But I liked this. It needed something, and this is what it needed. And on this one, why did I leave the E? Because Papa is a big part of our projects. I wouldn't be home if I wasn't home taking care of Papa. I would be off working somewhere and I wouldn't be doing these videos. And he's also a big help. He gives me lots of ideas and gives me some hints and tips sometimes. So I thought I'm going to leave the E on there because that brings Papa right into our book, and I like that. So, and then this side, I thought some kind of maybe a collage, and or maybe a tag, because again, this is one of those pages with a lot of typing on it. I just didn't like it. And I want to put this here, and I'm thinking because this side is a writing space here, a writing space here, and then it will be a belly band with a tag tucked in behind it, that with all of that going on there, that having just a pretty page on this side, just something nice to look at, would be good. Now I got this. This was like off of a candy box and from a Whitman sampler, and I just peeled that off of there, and that looks really cool. So I thought maybe a piece of this would look nice on there, and maybe a little label of some sort. Just rip ourselves a label and put that on there. I haven't decided exactly. To me, I may be using too much of the same color in the books. But I thought maybe if we did this like this, and then did this like this, and then put a label up there. Ooh, maybe a label with some, maybe a piece of this paper. Let's get one of our tear rulers and tear this kind of to a better size. So I need to tear off this part here. So what I'm going to do is you hold your ruler, your tear ruler, on the thinnest part of the paper that's on the smallest part. How do I want to say that? We're going to wind up with a little tiny strip. If we tried to tear that little tiny strip off, we would be going rip, rip, rip. It would be coming apart because it's really hard to tear this little tiny strip. So you hold the tiny part down and you rip the larger part. And so I think maybe we'll just go, let's just do a label about, well, where's that? What did I just do with the dragonflies? Oh, here they are. Yeah, let's do it about that size. Okay, I don't like this little pokey out down there, so we'll just take that off. And so if we put this over here, and we put this here, we put this up here with a, whoops, you can't even see. Sorry about that. Like that. Maybe put one of those dragonflies on there. I think that might be cute. And then, but what I like to do with the labels is I like them to have a line around them. Don't know why, but it just seems like they should have. And you can do that in all sorts of ways. Just a regular pen. You can do it with markers and color it in so that the edge is solid. I'm going to go all the way top to bottom and do 2 lines. Just kind of make both ends the same. There we go. And then we'll do this one. And I'm going to go all the way over so that the lines cross over each other, because I like the way that that looks. go. And we have a blank label on the front page for whoever's book this journal this winds up being, for them to put their name on there. But this one I thought that we would put something on it because it's in the back of the book. I don't want to just leave it plain. So there's that and that. Whoops. Let's pull this over here. I have a real mess here today because I've been trying to figure things out. And now I'm just going to cut this. How wide do I want it? I want that on there. I want the leaves of this to kind of overlap it. So I want to cut it, I think, right here. I'm going to cut. I'll be able to cut fairly straight because these little bubbles go in a straight line. Although I said fairly straight because I'm not good at straight. Okay. Yeah. I started in the middle or to the edge of the bubbles here, and by the time I was done, I was off the edge up here. There we go. One thing I do think is worth investing in for your crafting is a cutter. My preference is a guillotine cutter. But, you know, I mean, it just depends on what you like. Guillotine cutters are a little more expensive. I was trying to think, do I want to leave it as a pocket? But I don't. I just want it to be decorative. And I thought about putting some color on it. But I think that the white will just be a nice contrast because there is so much color in this book. And if I decide that I want a little color on it, I can always do a little watercolor like we make it with our markers and our water. I can do it on a baggie and then just flip that baggie over and put it on here. So it's not like I can't color it later if I don't like it, but I really think that I want it to just be white. We've got the white in the paint over here. I'll line that up. I'm just going to cut it off at the bottom here. And then I need something hard. Grab our book. I want to give it a good press, but there's so much underneath here that make sure that that sticks down there well. There we go. And then put this here. Okay, so that's going to be there like that. This one is going to be here like this. I still have not decided what I want to do here, if anything. I'm just not sure that it needs anything. It's kind of busy enough, you know. I mean, it has enough with it. I'm going to glue that down. Because no matter how many times I've looked at that, I've thought about putting lace there. I've thought about, you know, putting stamping there or stenciling. And every time I look at it, I stop myself from doing it because I don't know what to do. Because I'm kind of happy with the way that it already looks. And so everything I think of, it's like, no. And so I'm thinking that it's meant not to have anything there. And just because I've glued this down does not mean I can't go back later and put something there if I decide to. See, we need to make some danglies to hang off of here too. Lots of little bits in finishing off your journals if you don't finish your page when you start it. But that's what makes it kind of fun, to go back and find something that you hadn't even thought of yet to do with it. I want to make sure that we're not glued together. I'm going to go down in here and press on the bottom part where the glue actually is. Let's see. I like it. And then our little tag over here. Yep. Okay, so we're going to put this on. Now I don't know what I did with the dragonflies again. And that's the thing. So I didn't have any stickers for this. But then Papa got those in the mail and he did not want them. He has lots of them and he likes the ones that he gets from the VFW with the flags on them. So I thought, well, I looked and they had dragonflies. I thought, I'm not going to throw those away. That's a sticker. It's a sticker for me to use in my journal. And I've been collecting up lots and lots of window envelopes and that type of thing. Envelopes that have, what do they call them? The security envelopes that have different patterns inside. Because those are, some of them are really cool. I have one here. Look at this one. Isn't that neat? It almost looks like a coloring book page. I'm going to use that to make a tag. A little piece sticking up here, so I'm going to just rip that off. Go, and dragonflies, where'd you go? Here we go. Is that going to look good on there? Yes, it is. And does it need anything else? I don't think so. You know, sometimes less is more. Sometimes it doesn't have to be over the top. And I'm going to put that on there. Just like that. Do I want it underneath? Underneath. I think I do want it underneath. I'm going to put some glue on here, and I'm going to put some glue on that dragonfly too, because it doesn't look like it's sticking down real well. Put that one right up there on an angle. Ooh, too much glue. And there we go. Another page done, except for we need a tag for underneath there. Even when I finish a page, it's not finished. Oops, I forgot to fold that back down. Let's see, let's open this up and give this a good press. There we go. And then remember, if you've got a lot of glue on something or it's not sticking down very well, stick it under a hard book and a heavy book and let it sit for a while, and that will make sure that it all sticks together. I like that one. So I think that's as far as we're going to go today. I hope I didn't go too far. This might be too long, but thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.